before we get into both of those, man, I think we need to talk about Zach Edey real quick. I don't know if you caught the summer league, but Zach Edey had a crazy game last game, right? Went off. He was a top 10 pick, lottery pick. But there's been a lot of talks on him and how he should have got drafted and everything. And this could be potentially a steal for the Grizzlies. But at the same time, people not really too sold on the freaking, 7-foot big anymore, traditional bigs. Yeah. And that's exactly who Zach Edey is. So I wonder, I'm going to ask you, is the value of the big man overrated, or will Edey and the Grizzlies prove people wrong this year?
Well, it's crazy to see what he's doing in Summer League. And obviously in Summer League, the talent isn't there. He's not going to get a lot of the same size that he probably would even see in the NBA game, right? But what I do love about this is that the NBA goes through eras, right? So initially when I was growing up, it was all big man era. This is like back in the late 80s. You're playing through your bigs. And then as Jordan came around, it's like the game became a little bit more guard-centric in the 90s. And we saw a lot of tough wings, defense in the 2000s. And then offenses opened up in the early 2010s when you got D'Antoni and you got Curry. And it's like now with Wemby coming in, with Zach Edey coming in, with the 7'9" kid from IMG Academy coming in, Alex Sarr coming in, obviously all the other bigs that are in here, we're going to start to get more of a traditional game. Donovan, I forget his name, the kid from UConn, Donovan, but he's coming into the league. Like there's going to be a lot more traditional bigs, I think, that start to come into the league. And Zach Edey is going to be one of the poster childs of this thing, man. It could be a little throwback era, Dub.
So, what's so funny? Back in 2020, I had a thought process of, especially after the Lakers won with Anthony Davis, JaVale McGee, and Dwight Howard, I was like, dang, bro, are they going to go back to like some traditional big sets and everything like that? Are they going to go back to, that era brand of basketball? You feel me? But then, Jokic, then who won? Then the Warriors won again. So now I'm just sitting here like, all right, maybe not. But then Jokic and the Nuggets won. But Jokic don't play really traditionally like that. Like they play very it's a very how do I say, like revolutionary type of way of playing basketball.
Yeah.
And there's some hints of like, because they shoot the 3-ball a lot. So some hints of like the modern era, and then some hints of the post era back in the 2000s with Jokic and his post touches. So they're kind of in between. But now you had the Boston Celtics winning right now, and they play exactly like the modern era, right? So right now, I'm not sure what's going off, but in my mindset, Justin, I just got to be real. These bigs, bro, just being that, you have to do so much more in this era of basketball, fam.
I don't know.
You have to. You have to, bro. The game's changing, but the thing is where the game is today. Memphis Grizzlies, for example, I'll use Zach Edey and them. I think that defense is going to be insane. Like with Jaren Jackson Jr., with what's his name, Marcus Smart, with Zach Edey down there holding it down. Their defense is going to be, which is always one of the best defenses in the league. But the issue with them is always going to be offensively. Offensively is really what drags that team down. And when you're a big man, you're a 7-footer, and you're very limited in your offense, and the people around you are limited as well, it hurts your team. Now, I'm still not sure about how Zach Edey can sit here and be versatile on defense. I still got to see that. So we'll see how that happens in throughout the season. But I think the Timberwolves definitely have a good enough defense to offset that. But the big has to do so much now to be valuable, right? Look at Joel Embiid. He has to do so much to be as valuable as is. He's a good defender. He's a great rebounder. He's a good passer. He's a great scorer, great mid-range shooter, great free throw shooter, good three-point shooter, finishes at the rim, can handle the rock. Jokic, one of the best passers in NBA history, good mid-range shooter, good in the post. The dribble handoff action that he's able to do. You have to do so much now for 7-footers, where if you just a traditional big like you was in the 2000s,
the problem is I think the flaw in what you're thinking is, you're getting 7'4", 7'5" guys. This isn't like the old days where it was Rick Smith and it was Sean Bradley and Manute Bol, and these guys were just either frail or they weren't athletic. Zach Edey's athletic. We saw that putback dunk attempt that he missed last night. Like that was in the play he made at the end. Like that's an elite level play for him. And obviously he had the game that he had, but at the same time, we're looking at like Wemby. We're looking at these other guys who are moving way different now. So I think now the size is going to start to be a factor. When you got 7'4" on, now you try to play that undersized lineup, right? You try to play a 6'9" guy, a Bam at 6'9" now. That's a whole different ball game. And I think that's going to be a leverage point that some of these offenses had, where before it was the Steph Curry and Klay Thompson and the three-point shooting and moving fast up and down the court. If you can slow it down and play defense now, as we see with the Celtics, defense wins championships. And I think if we can get to a more defense aligned here in the 2020s, man, it's going to be a beautiful brand of basketball.
I'm not sold on that shit.
I see it, bro.
I'm just not, bro. Like at the end of the day, the whole bigs coming back. My whole thing is, you brought up Wemby. You got to be a revolutionary big. Like Wemby's a revolutionary big. That dude is a generational talent, right? The things he can do. A guy like Zach, he also fits the mold. That's a different type of big. That's a generational big who plays a different brand than your traditional set. But that's the thing. You have to be like that. And when you're a 7-footer where you're not able to stretch the ball, stretch the paint out like that and be versatile, yo, bro, it's going to hurt your team.
Let's be real. It's not like EDEY's just this guy who can't even hit a perimeter shot at all. He's not shooting the 3 ball very accurately, obviously. We're not counting him for 2 to 3 threes a game. But can he extend out to the free throw line extended? He can't. And
they don't even go to that.
He's more back to the basket. I get it. But that role could be established now, especially if he's able to protect the interior like he was in college. If he does that in the NBA, we're talking about a guy that's probably going to average around 3 blocks a game.
Oh, he's going to be a great defender. I think 1,000% a great defender, but he needs to be on just like everybody, he needs to be on a specific team. And I don't think he'll ever be in discussions of like a top 10 player.
I mean, so let me ask you this. You think Zach EDEY could ever be Rudy Gobert, where he's in the conversation for Defensive Player of the Year? What's wrong with that? What's wrong with that? Nah,
bro. The way people be talking about Zach EDEY, man, they be talking about like he should have went #1 and everything. And at the end of the day, I don't think Zach EDEY's good. I think he's really good. Like people be dragging it with him, bro.
I think they got to steal with him at 9. He was projected to go like mid-first, and I think they kind of got to steal with him. Especially when this Memphis team gets back. I don't think they're going to be like competing in the West or anything because the West is so deep. But I think I think they could be like a mid-tier team. I don't think they're one of the top 5 teams in the West.
Well, why can't they be competing with everybody? What are you talking about? That's a great.
What do you mean? No. What do you mean competing? So when I mean competing for a championship. Memphis is not competing for a championship.
Okay.
That's all I care. I care about competing for a championship. So that's what
I don't even know about that, because even this year, right? It was very up in the air in terms of the Western Conference, right? In the Western Conference, like the Nuggets lost.
Up in the air.
Like the Nuggets lost. The team everyone thought was going to win to the Timberwolves, which we didn't think that was going to happen. Yeah. But then that Timberwolves crew lost to the Dallas Mavericks. And then you got OKC, where they're upping their roster. So we're going to see what has to happen with them. But even then, this Grizzlies crew, let's not forget, this is the same Grizzlies crew that faced the Warriors in the second round and was giving them some issues. Right? This was back in 2022. Yeah. So I think Ja Morant is a great offensive player. And the defense that they have a defense with Zach EDEY and Jaren Jackson as a roamer. They have a defense that can sit here and try to mitigate the Denver Nuggets and what they got going on. The Nuggets is falling down the drain. The team that they're acquiring right now is just terrible.
The Grizzlies lost 2 key pieces over these last 2 seasons. Dylan Brooks and Kyle Anderson. You know what I'm saying? Or
Kyle Anderson.
I'm just saying. Kyle Anderson was nice, bro. He was nice for slow.
Yo. Don't talk to me about no Kyle Anderson.
Defensively, but then even still, like this season, like Desmond Bane had to play a different type of role. Jaren Jackson Jr. was injured throughout. So I just think that this Memphis team, even with you got Marcus Smart, Morant, Desmond Bane, Jaren Jackson, and then Zach EDEY. To me, that's not competing with the top 5 to 6 teams in the Western Conference. It's not.
So
I think they're more of a body. Like the Kings have passed them now.
We see how defense has translated this season in the postseason. Are
they better than the Pelicans?
Yes.
The Grizzlies are not better than the Pelicans. Stop,
bro. They're gonna move off. They're gonna move off of BI. Let's not do this.
Stop.
They're gonna move off of BI, but they're definitely still better than the Pelicans. What we're talking about?
They're not better than the Pelicans, man. Come on.
What?
They're not better than the Pelicans.
They have one of the best defenses in the league. And the way that we've seen how in the playoff setting, how defenses has really controlled series this whole entire year, they have a defense that can slow anybody down with Marcus Smart.
We gonna act like the Pelicans don't have a nice defense. We gonna act like the Pelicans ain't one of the better defensive teams.
I'm not a believer in Zion Williamson. I'm not going to hold you. And the Pelicans haven't.
We talked about that.
We have talked about that actually. And the Pelicans, I don't like the things that they're doing with their roster too. So it's kind of like But last year,
see what happens with BI. We'll see.
I'll say this: if it was the same roster from last year, I can understand your point. But I don't like the things the Pelicans doing right now. I'm not going to lie.
I don't know. Herb Jones, Trey Murphy. They got DeJounte Murray now. With Zion, that team is nasty, bro. CJ still there. Like that team could be nasty.
It could be, man.